Hello and welcome to the Final Whistle with me, Daniel Waterson, looking back at Thursday's dramatic Europa League first leg win over Asteras Tripolis. Coming up, James Delaney and I talk through the match and we have the post-match thoughts from David Gray. But first, let's relive all the goals with Hibs TV's John Stevens and Keith Reid.
Silianidis to Kyriakopoulos, and he's got into the box. He's on the edge of the 6-yard box and he gets a shot away and it's gone in. Adam Bogdan, he's unable to keep it out. It looked more like a cross rather than a shot. However, he's got both hands to it and it looks like he's just ended up parrying that into the ground and into the back of the net. 11 minutes gone, it's Hibernian 0, Asteras 1. They're still in possession of the ball, Asteras, and it's Kyriakopoulos and he gets a shot away. Oh my goodness gracious me, 35 minutes on the clock and it's Hibernian 0, Asteras 2, the left back Kyriakopoulos. I'll tell you what, Keith, he's never hitting a ball sweet as that ever again in his life. Swing it straight in. It goes into the middle of the park. Epi Ambrose, and the ball is hit off the bar, and it looks like Martin Boyle maybe got the last touch on it. I don't know who it is that's going to be claiming that one, Keith. But all that matters is that Hibernian have pulled the goal back. Epi Ambrose's header, it's hit the bar. Stevie Mallon's corner, fantastic, finding the Nigerian. He's got his forehead on the ball. The ball's hit off the bar, bounced down into the 6-yard box. I don't quite know if it's crossed the line at that point. Lewis Stevenson on the left-hand side of the park on the edge of the 18-yard box. He gets a crossing. It's gone all the way to the back post. David Gray! David Gray! David Gray from about 10 yards out. He's just cut the ball back across. Georgios Athanasiadis. Hibernian 2. Asteras Tripolis 2. In the 77th minute, Hibernian in a fantastic second half recovery have pulled themselves level here. Extraordinary. Stevie Mallon picks it up. He's played it out wide onto the right hand side for David Gray, the captain. His cross has just been blocked. Iglesias clears it. It's now with Paul Hanlon. It's forward now for Mark Boyle. This is a chance. And it's been tapped in. Oh, Hibernian at back post. Sensational here. Hibernian have got the winning goal in injury time, it would seem. Martin Boyle's shot has just taken a deflection. Flo Canberry, like all good strikers do, on his toes, and he just tapped it into the back post, unmarked. And Athanasiadis, he's got his head down the way, he's shaking his head there. No help from his defenders whatsoever. Do we care one iota? Absolutely not. Hibernian from 2-0 down have stormed back to take a 3-2 lead here in injury time.
James, I don't know where to begin. At half-time, there was some boos as the team went off. It all looked a bit flat and, dare I say, ominous at 2-0 at half-time. But yet again, this Hibs team never ceases to amaze me. What a turnaround, 3-2. Go for it.
I think there's plenty of people inside the ground who could have done with some boos at half time. It was not a great first half performance, but as the old adage goes, we Hibsed it and came back and won 3-2. As this team has done countless times, staring defeat in the face. Even the Seagulls are laughing.
Yeah, that Seagull was absolutely loving it there.
It's absolutely incredible. Like, I can't remember. I mean, we've had some good European nights here. We've had some bad European nights here. I think that might be my favourite, to be honest. Or certainly my favourite 45 minutes. The first half was bad. It put me really in mind of the Brøndby game, where we were playing a team that, if we're honest, probably ability-wise weren't that much better than us. Or, they had a couple of decent players. I was quite impressed by a few of their players, to be fair. But both the teams on the pitch, they probably didn't. They weren't a team that was 2 goals better than us.
No, never at any stage.
And I think at the second half, you kind of saw the real Hibs come out, and it maybe did take that sort of shock to the system to be 2-0 down and to hear the boos ringing around Easter Road, which we haven't heard for quite a while, to be honest with you, with this team. It maybe took that to kick-start it, but once we got going, fair play to Hibs and fair play to the players who were on the pitch, who kept plugging away, who even after we got one back and it looked like that was all we were going to get, never looked like giving up.
No.
And dragged us back. And I mean, that Florian Canberry goal, it was one of those things where A, it seemed to take an age for the ball to actually cross the line, and then B, everybody had to have a 5-second look to the linesman to see if the flag was going to be up.
I thought when Martin Boyle was lining up the shot, Paco Luna's face just flashed before my eyes as we went back to Athens. But thankfully Flo was there to tap it in. I also looked at the linesman for a good 2 or 3 seconds before celebrating the goal. But I suppose the follow-up question is why can't Hibs do this the easy way? Why do they do this to us?
Because that's not fun. That's not what we've been about for 140 odd years. It's always about making things as difficult as possible for ourselves, and amazing people. I mean, like sitting at half time and reading the replies on Twitter, you were kind of, you weren't embarrassed, because I mean at that stage, I mean, obviously Aberdeen drew 1-1 with Burnley in that game, and Rangers were, I think, did they win against Osijek?
They won 1-0, yeah.
1-0 against Osijek. At that stage you're sitting, both those teams were winning 1-0 at half time, we're 2-0 down, we're kind of letting the side down a little bit, but I imagine we'll be the ones everyone's talking about at the end of the game.
Yeah, especially that turnaround. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've seen very little, but from reading the kind of live updates from Putoji and over in Croatia, Rangers and Aberdeen were leading whilst getting pummeled by the looks of things. I could be completely wrong, but I'll edit this all out if I am. But whilst Hibs were in control, and at no stage was that ever a 2-0 game.
There's an Asteras player on the pitch who's filming, and I like to think that he's filming the majesty of Easter Road. I think he's fascinated by the fact that there's about 14 million seagulls flying around the pitch, and the Hibs players are still doing a warm down in what can only be described as a Hitchcock-esque scene.
So yeah, as an Asteras player films his favourite podcasters, definitely not just taking pictures of Easter Road, will we wave at him as we podcast. But yeah,
sorry, that's quite a long diatribe. But
at no stage was that ever a 2-0 game.
No, I mean, I said it was reminiscent of the Brøndby game earlier on, and that was really the only thing that puts me in mind of it, or it puts me in mind of. I mean, to just sort of to put it out there completely honestly, Asteras were a goal up at one stage through a goalkeeping error. I think we can say that.
Yeah.
Without actually looking that much better than us, and without really threatening, to be honest. I mean, we'd had a couple of half chances. We had one that possibly could have been a penalty. One of those where I think you can say I've seen them given. Had a couple of half decent shots. Triantafilopoulos blocks John McGinn's shot at the edge of the box, and it almost creeps in at the bottom corner. In the early stages of the game, you're actually thinking maybe they do look a little bit off the pace, and maybe they are a team who's only played 3 friendly matches and aren't quite back to full strength, and there's a chance for us here. But I mean, that goal that goes in after, I think it's 10 minutes, 11 minutes.
Yep.
It's a sucker punch, and the second one as well, albeit a great strike. Possibly Adam Bogdan should have been doing a little bit better at his near post, but it was one of those that it felt like the rug had been pulled from under us, and it really felt that all our momentum was gone. The crowd were getting antsy, the players were miss-hitting passes and miscontrolling the ball, and it didn't look like a team that has been back for several weeks in pre-season and put in some amazing performances in the last campaign. But the second half was a completely different team that came out. Whether it has been that Gary Parker and the coaching staff have had a few softly spoken words with them.
Yeah, just some general whispers.
Just some general whispers, some motivational messages.
Yeah.
Or whether it is that they've gone in there and they've all said they're not as as good as we think that they might be, or we expected them to be. It doesn't matter, because the performance we came out and produced in the second half was fantastic, and it was really this Hibs team in a microcosm, not doing things the easy way, somehow still winning and showing some real grit and determination in doing so.
Yeah, I think you've generally summed up the first half there, but we'll very kind of briefly fly through that before getting to the real drama. So Hibs lined up 3-5-2, Slivka at right wing back, a surprise to probably everyone. Whittaker playing the kind of sitting midfield role. Hibs flew out the traps. A couple of early free kicks. I thought there was half a shout for a penalty where Paul Hanlon was handled in the box. Stephen Mallon, a couple of dangerous through balls. Flo just couldn't get in the end of them. But then, like you say, that sucker punch first goal came. Tripolis or Asteras were getting a lot of freedom when they were coming down that Hibs right hand side. Slivka and Ambrose were kind of getting a little bit mixed up, so it was allowing, let's go for it, let's give this a go. Kyriakopoulos,
nice.
It allowed him the chance to get some space, and the first goal, it's poor defending to allow the space. Adam Bogdan will know that he should have done better with the shot.
Yeah, I mean, to step back, Slivka right back, I think, was a decision that probably surprised a lot of the Hibs team as well. I mean, I really like Vikintas Slivka. I think he has all the attributes to be a very, very good player for Hibs. I thought technically in the second half he was much better when he got moved into midfield, but he's not a fullback. And I mean, he'll know himself that he's not a fullback. It's, I think we used the phrase square pegs and round holes at half time, and that's exactly what it looked like. It basically meant that FA was having to come out and sort of double up with him, and all that did was allow us space in behind, and that's really where the first goals come from. Kyriakopoulos gets in there. Thanks. I've been practicing since half time, to be honest, because I'm a bit of a mirror with that one. He's obviously, I actually thought he was one of their better players tonight, albeit his first goal, Bogdan should be saving it. He gets plenty behind it on his left foot, but from that kind of angle and that kind of range, you'd be expecting your 6'5" goalkeeper to get down and save that. But I mean, he'll know that himself. He doesn't need us to tell him that, to be honest. He actually does make a good save from Kyriakopoulos in the second half. I think it's just after it goes to 2-2.
One tipped over the bar.
So fair play there. But I mean, Adam Bogdan, I think, would have been like the rest of us and disappointed to see that one go in. Yeah. So I mean, the game kind of lulled a bit after that. Both teams kind of had to settle and readapt after the goal. Pasolidis got booked, which obviously led on to his second yellow later on in the game, but it was only Hibs making the chances. McGinn hit either the crossbar or the stanchion with an effort from 30 yards, a rasper. McGinn's corner finds Whittaker completely unmarked at the back post, and he quite simply had to score it. Slivka showed all his abilities going forward with a fantastic first touch, really dangerous ball in, just begging to be touched in by Flo Canberry, but he just couldn't get on to the end of it. And the second goal then comes, and it's just a complete sucker punch to everyone. Kyriakopoulos, like you say, he gets a lot behind it, but it just kind of came out of nowhere at that point and just completely flattened both the stadium and the team. It was a bit of a bolt from the blue. He catches it really well, to be fair to him, and it's a difficult angle to catch the ball from where he hits it, gets it in the sweet spot really, which is right inside the post. It actually clips off the post. I wonder if Adam Bogdan was maybe unsighted, because it looks like he dives a little bit too late. I'd have to see it back again, but you wonder if there's maybe, because I mean, from that angle I don't think there's many people expecting him to hit it from there, but it's a great strike. He's obviously got plenty behind it, so he has hit it right in the absolute perfect place. But I'd like to see it back, and again, I'm sure Adam Bogdan will be thinking maybe he could have done a little bit better with it.
From doing the social media updates for the game, the only saving grace of that goal is that the name Kyriakopoulos was already saved in my phone from the first goal, so I didn't have to try and type it out again. So at least it was him that scored again and not Kostas, the defender.
Triantafylopoulos.
Don't try and be smart now.
I overshot myself there, really.
Nah, he's my least favourite dinosaur. More from James and I shortly, but let's hear from David Gray speaking with Hibs TV.
David, fantastic second half performance from the team, coming from 2-0 down to end up winning the tie 3-2. Can you just give us your thoughts overall on what transpired on the park here at Easter Road this evening?
I think it's plain to see. I think we gave away 2 sloppy goals, but disappointing to find ourselves 2-0 down. But we started the game reasonably well, early doors, started on the front foot, but the goal was like a bit of a sucker punch, and then credit to the lads, second half we really pushed on, and I think we got what we deserved at the game. We maybe could have scored a couple more, and credit to Fulham for driving on, and the crowd were right behind in the second half, and it really helped us motivate us and get us forward.
Just in terms of what happened in the first half, I thought the team looked like we maybe did keep hold of a lot of the ball, but it was just a couple of sucker punches, maybe solidified a little bit more at the back. Do you think that was a really good base for us to obviously be pushing forward on from to get those 3 goals?
I think, listen, we've conceded 2 goals again, so we're disappointed with that, first and foremost. We know we need to tighten up, but we've also shown again tonight that we're able to score goals, and I'm sure we'll be a threat when we're over there, but first and foremost we need to tighten up and make sure that we keep it tight at the back going over there, second leg.
Obviously, since you've come in, we've got a good away record in Europe, beating Runevic and beating Brøndby, unfortunately going out on penalties. Does that give the lads a bit of hope going across to Greece next week?
Yeah, obviously we go in there with confidence, we're winning the game, but we know it'll be a completely different challenge. Obviously the climate's a lot different. For the fans, for us tonight, were tremendous. They really got us over the line in the second half. They were right behind us right from the start, and I think that made a big difference. Obviously going over there, it's going to be a bit different, a little bit more hostile towards us, and that's all part of the challenge and the experience of playing in Europe, and something we're all striving to do well in.
Just going back to your goal, your equalising goal here, how good did it feel when that ball hit the back of the net?
Oh, it's great to score goals, and like you say, it's obviously fantastic feeling to get ourselves back in the game. I think it's because we worked so hard to get back in the game, and it was a big point in the game where the drive was behind us there and everything was going our way, and we really felt we could go on and win the game, so it was a good wee turning point in the game. What
is it that makes the team so determined in matches? If they go behind, they never really seem to let the heads drop. Everybody seems to rally. What is it that causes that? Why is the team spirit so good?
I think we're a real close bunch. I think we've always said that the dressing room's the best I've ever been involved in. Everyone works their socks off for each other every single day in training, and like you say, we're all good mates, so we all strive to do each other's. If somebody's not doing so well, we'll try our best to help them out, and I think that goes right through the core of the squad, and I think it's an easy dressing room for when the gaffer does make additions to the squad to come in and slot in really well, because it's a great environment to play football, and I think the lads have just been enjoying the success of recent years, and we're really taking everything forward.
And just lastly, what's going to be the game plan when we're out in Greece? Obviously conceding the 2 away goals, would rather have avoided that, but we have got the lead. What sort of plan do you think Neil and the coaching team are going to be devising for you?
I think it's just important you try and progress in the tie. That's the most important thing. I think obviously if we can go over there and score, it makes it a lot harder for them, because they'll need a couple of goals, and I think if we can tighten up defensively, we know we're good enough to score goals against teams, and we've shown again tonight that we're able to cut them open and score goals. We've got real attacking threat going forward, so now we're going over there with confidence, but we also know it's a very difficult game, so we need to prepare properly and rest up between now and then.
Yeah, half-time whistle goes. I mean, we've already mentioned the crowd were disgruntled. Change had to be made. We've seen David Gray go down the tunnel. The crowd reacted straight away just from seeing David Gray go to come on as a sub. No surprise that he comes on for Stephen Whittaker, who had a poor first half. Slivka moves into a more natural position in the middle, and right from the off, the Hibs are just carry on where they left off. There's still the motivation, still the belief from the team. McGinn has a shot in the opening minute that deflects wide. Boyle has a strike from the edge of the box, which is really well saved. Gray has a free header which he puts wide, but you could see pretty early on in the second half that it was probably just a matter of when and not if for Hibs.
It was absolutely the right change. I mean, you could see that everything was coming down the right hand side, for Asteras, and that was where they were getting a lot of the chances from, or the few chances they had, to be honest with you. It's exactly where they were coming from. Obviously Slivka gets moved into midfield, much more natural in that position because it is his position. David Gray comes on, and I know he's had a few injury concerns and he's been in and out of the team, but I thought he slotted back in like it was a couple of years ago, and it was I mean, you don't want to say sort of peak David Gray, but when David Gray sort of first really broke into the Hibs team, and was one of our best players in that first season down in the Championship. I thought he was absolutely fantastic when he came on. He was committed, and he looked good going forward. He looked solid defensively. He was absolutely hearing back to get back in and make challenges. He played really well when he came on. I was really impressed by it. But it was one of those sort of bizarre ones where again you're kind of looking and going, it feels like we're going to be playing all night and still not scoring. It just wasn't happening for us. The goalkeeper, Athanasiadis, makes a really good save from Martin Boyle, like you said. I actually thought that one was going to creep in the bottom corner.
Yeah, I thought it was in. The moment it left his boot, I thought that was away, that one. It's a great save.
you talked about sort of Gray heading wide. It just sort of seemed like everything we were doing was a yard off, and it just wasn't quite there. And we did probably need like a little bit of luck and a little slice of luck to get us back into the game, and sort of what we get in the end.
Yep, well, I mean, before the goal, Stevenson and McGinn pick up yellow cards. Here's one. This is a trickier one. Silianides. I'll go with that. Silianides. The Asteras counter. He has half a chance. He cuts in, but he puts it over the bar, thankfully. Then Effie's goal comes after what we can say. Oh no, that was before the equaliser. McGregor nearly killed that guy.
Yeah.
And then. So Effie's goal comes from another corner. I thought it was the one place Asteras looked really weak was
which was odd because they actually had quite a few big players. I thought the number 17 Iglesias, it's a big lad. He's actually limping.
Puts himself about.
He's actually limping down the touchline just now. So I'll talk a little bit quieter in case he comes up here.
Sorry, McGinn, he's got your back.
Anyway. It actually surprised me that they were that weak, given sort of how well organised they were too, from set pieces. But Effie heads the ball against the bar, it bounces off somebody else, it hits Effie again, it just sort of creeps over the line, which I think is the right order those things happened in. It might not be, to be honest with you. I have no idea, but that was probably the kind of the luck that we've been lacking out, elsewhere in the game, and we get it there. It gets us back into the game, and from there, the place was absolutely bouncing. I mean, it felt like we were getting back to the Hibs that we all know. And
that's it. It's as if maybe because there's been the gap over the summer that we've forgotten that this is the team, to use a phrase from the early 90s for Hibs. You forget this is a team that won't die. This is a team that will never just roll over. And as soon as that first goal came in, the crowd, it was as if they kind of remembered that, and all the fight was there again. We had what looked like a stonewall penalty denied to me for a handball. I think it was Canberry's shot. It clearly comes off the boy's hand. Boyle gets booked the moment he opens it. A very stern referee, shall we say. The moment Boyle opened his mouth to that referee, the yellow card was out.
He was no nonsense, which to be fair at times was actually a bit refreshing.
And it wasn't just towards Hibs.
No, it wasn't.
It was in the first. Was that what Pasolidis got booked for? He was the guy that as soon as he complained about a free kick, the yellow card came out immediately.
And he gave, I can't remember who it was, one of the Asteras players was having a go at him for not booking a Hibs player after a foul, and he told him where to go. It looked like, which I think a few people in the crowd spotted and
I would take a telling from that referee.
He was very sort of school teacher like.
So Boyle gets booked. Slivka then has a free header that he puts wide. Hibs we've made so many chances tonight, and then comes probably the greatest booking I will see all year. Darren McGregor, for want of a better word, mauls. It was Iglesias, wasn't it?
I think the referee wrote it down in his notebook as yellow card for GBH. That's pretty much the only way to describe it.
A yellow card for attempted manslaughter from Darren McGregor.
I mean, it would not have looked out of place in the octagon. That it was unbelievable.
And it's whilst that Iglesias is off getting treatment, Hibs win a free kick. Hibs get a free kick out of all of that, incredibly. I don't remember if it's directly from the free kick, but the ball ends up out to David Gray. I can't remember how now, but cometh the hour, cometh Sir David Gray. He is the man for the big goals in the big games, and as soon as that ball dropped to his feet, you just knew there was only one place that was going.
I mean, we talked about, or we sort of touched on Stephen Whittaker's lack of composure with his chance in the first half. What I think we got there was the opposite, and it was very much a fantastic composure from David Gray. Takes the ball down his right foot and he just absolutely blasts it past the goalkeeper. Reminded me a little bit, although it wasn't from quite the same range, of his goal against Rangers a couple of years ago in the 4-0.
4-0,
when he takes a touch, he takes his time and he puts it right in the top corner. This one was similar. Takes his time, picks his spot and just blasts it right into the net. I think he deserved it for his performance when he came on in the second half, because I thought he was excellent. Obviously the fans always love a David Gray goal for various reasons, and it's perfect. He got at that point we're level, and you always have that little bit of nagging doubt that it might still go awry, but I thought we stuck together sort of pretty well, and we held together pretty well during that the rest of that second half, even when tempers were flaring, we always looked like we at least in some sort of control.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, there was 12 minutes left when Gray equalised, and immediately, as soon as Hibs got level again, Asteras started to creep forward again. They started to come at us, and the atmosphere's brilliant, and everyone just has to kind of keep their calm, keep their composure. It's not a horrible situation, but as a manager, you're thinking, do you stick and go for the win next week? Do you just keep going for it? Thankfully, within a couple of minutes of the equaliser, Asteras make that decision very easy for us, as Pasolidis gets a second yellow card, and he can have no complaints for the foul that led to it.
No, it's one of those where it's actually a misplaced pass in the middle of the pitch, and Slivka kind of picks up on it, and we were kind of screaming from it playing Canberra.
Yep.
He takes it himself. I mean, Pasolidis, I think, kind of knows what he's doing. He knows that he's got to really make this challenge, and he obviously gets a step wrong, and just absolutely wipes Slivka out. He didn't look like he could play too much. He was already walking by the time the ref was over to him. Obviously then we have Stevie Mallon standing over a free kick, and given his track record, I think we all expected him to pop it right in the top corner, and he kicked it into the wall.
He did.
Which, much to the sort of groans of like...
You kind of felt
knew that
it was just
happen.
an anti-climax coming, but I'm half a shout for a handball with a free kick. Am I clutching at straws there, given the one that wasn't given?
Maybe a little bit, to be honest. It could have been a handball. Again, it's one of those where I think with the handball we were talking about earlier, and with that Hanlon one right in the first minute, you've seen them given, and maybe a less terrifying referee might have given that, but that's the way it goes. I'm sure if it hadn't finished 3-2 we wouldn't be saying that, but that's the way it is.
So at this stage there's 6 minutes left plus stoppage time. Paul Hanlon has a 40-yard strike, which it gets it on target. It gets a lot of power behind it, but it's comfortably held by the keeper. Dave Gray has a header which is very well saved at the keeper's near post. Boyle then has a chance and he cuts inside, and he I don't know if he'd just seen his name up in lights, but he went for power and it just went over the bar. At this point I can't help again but think, how many chances have we passed up tonight? But injury time, 4 minutes goes up. Boyle again, so much space, great ball played in. Boyle composes himself. It's a phenomenal save from the goalkeeper, but Flo Canberry's there to do what all good strikers should and tap it in, and scenes would be the word.
Yeah, I mean, it was just we talked about that goal earlier where everybody seemed to look at the linesman, and I must admit I was expecting him to flag. It must have been really tight. Flo's obviously timed that to perfection to get in there, but I think at that point you could see the Asteras players being down to 10 men and chasing the game as well. They looked a little bit, well, not chasing the game, but chasing us at that point. They looked a little bit dead on their feet, and you kind of felt that if the keeper makes the save or diverts that wide or over, we probably don't score, but as soon as he diverts it back into the box, it's about who wants it more, and at that point Hibs wanted it more than anything in the world. And Canberry's in there, he taps it over the line. I think even he has a quick look over to check he's not offside, and it's just it's a phenomenal feeling, and like I said, it's one of the better European nights, or certainly one of the better 45 minutes I can remember here.
An incredible end, an incredibly well deserved ending. I just wonder if Neil Lennon will be saying in his post-match comments, I'm sure he'll be full of praise for the player, I'm sure he'll be full of praise for all the players for the comeback. I just wonder if he'll be a little bit disappointed that we're maybe not going with at least a 2-goal lead, never mind possibly more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this was a game where, I mean, I don't know an awful lot about Greek football. I don't know an awful lot about the Asteras team. Just going by what I've seen tonight, they look like a decent side. They probably look like about our equivalent in Greece. Where they're sort of just around the kind of European places, around that sort of end of the table,
taking results off bigger teams in the league.
So it's probably quite an even matchup. I certainly felt there wasn't a lot between the teams. Will we be disappointed with the amount of chances we missed? Probably. It feels like, it feels like a bigger. Obviously, it's a brilliant win, and to win, come back from 2-0 down in any game and win 3-2 is brilliant. But it does feel a little bit kind of, if we'd just taken one or two more of our chances, we might have a little bit more of a safety net. I'm sure it's going to be a really difficult task over there on Thursday, but what we have to do is go and be positive and remember that we do actually have a 1-goal lead. and we've scored 3 against this team before. Even if they get 1, there's absolutely no reason why we can't go and do something similar again.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we travelled well last season, and we obviously travelled well the last time we were in Europe when we went to Brøndby and picked up a 1-0 win. To me, this team look weak aerially at the back, so if Hibs were to go play a kind of deeper 3-5-2, almost a 5-3-2, and just try and use Boyle to kind of catch or latch onto any Canberra flick-ons for clearances and all that, then we're certainly capable of scoring a couple of goals ourselves in Greece next week.
Yeah, and there's every reason to be positive about going over there. Like I say, we've seen tonight that Asteras are a decent outfit. They're well capable of causing us some problems. They look relatively well suited to playing European football, and they are quite clearly a decent side, and it will be challenging going over to Greece. I imagine the atmosphere will be quite boisterous. I think it's meant to be about 30 degrees during the game, which I'm sure will
colder than here,
play a factor, which is I don't know how the Hibs players are going to cope in such low temperatures, to be honest, but we have every reason to be optimistic going over there, and it should be a really entertaining watch next week.
So that'll do us for this week's episode. Technical issues meant that there was no interview with Neil Lennon, so apologies to everyone for that. Extended highlights from Thursday are now available. The rest of this season's games are there, as well as the huge archive of other classics, all on Hibs TV. Next up for us is the return leg in Tripoli on Thursday. Keep an eye on the club's website for details on how to tune into that. Until next time, my thanks to James Delaney as always for joining me. Thank you for listening, and join us next time on The Final Whistle.